studying my MBA.
All right, can you guys
Masters in Advertising,
International
tune in for a
Relations
second?
and Latin
This will be about
American
a
Studies.
minute and a
I'm a
half.
business honors major.
I'm a computer scientist about to graduate from law school.
In the fall, we have the seminar, and it's designed to inspire students and expose us to every entrepreneur on campus. We kick things off with Open Pitch Pizza, when anybody from any school can come in and pitch their idea at the beginning of class and get feedback from me and the other guest speakers.
I got to pitch every single week. I highly encourage everybody to do so.
And then, every week, we bring in incredible guest speakers. We're talking about entrepreneurs like Kendra Scott, and investors like Mike Maples, inventors like Bob Metcalf, and incredible CEOs like Heather Bruner. They come and they share their story, and the students get to ask them questions and learn about what it takes to be a great entrepreneur.
Their advice was super useful when I was building my own startup.
And it kind of shows you that it's very much possible to be in their shoes.
In the spring, we have the lab, and in order to get into the lab, you can't just have an idea. You actually have to have a startup and a team, and you apply together. Once you're in the lab, then you get time and space to work on your startup while you're in school. There's no lectures, there's no assignments, it's all time working on your startup.
Sometimes it can be overwhelming. I'm like, what do I do? Who do I talk to? This really helps, a business owner kind of focus in on one thing each week.
Week in and week out, we're always going to have expectations. We always have some kind of goal.
But you're not alone. Every team gets matched up with 2 local mentors that meet with them every week to help keep them accountable and push them forward. And then in addition to that, we bring in guest mentors every week who are other amazing entrepreneurs and investors to plug you in and give you advice.
I get really good feedback and really personal feedback every single week. It's not like it's a 10-minute conversation with a mentor.
You really get everything you need to go from concept to product market fit to actually launching a business.
Every startup in the lab gets a stipend up front and competes for an investment prize at the end, which is awarded at a demo day with 1,000 people in the audience.
The lab helped us materialize that idea and help it become a reality.
The lab's not just about bringing great mentors into the university. It's also about bringing the students outside into the real world, which we do at Capital Factory, the center of gravity for entrepreneurs in Austin, and an incredible co-working space and mentor network that's available to all the students.
Oops. All right, that was almost the end anyway. I just cut it off by accident on my phone. And then it was going to say, and it's awesome to get to hang out here, and then just how the class was. It was awesome. It was awesome. It was awesome. All right, so that was the end of the video. But welcome. That's the little quick overview of the class. There's 2 parts to the class, the seminar and the lab. This is the lab. How many of you have taken the seminar? All right, a whole bunch of you. You don't have to take the seminar to take the lab, that's okay, but a lot of you are somewhat familiar with it from that. And the seminar, as you heard a little bit there, is a speaker series. We bring in great entrepreneurs and you get to hear from them and ask them questions, and also people that get to pitch each week. And really for me, that's part of how I find great people to come take the class, is because we're out there doing that and meeting students to take the lab. And then the lab is more like an accelerator. It's more like you have a startup, like all of you have startups you're working on. And over the course of this time, it's not build your startup. We're not going to teach you. It's not a programming class. We're not going to teach you how to build your code, although if you have problems, there are people that can probably help you with it. But it's really about connecting you to all the other people that you need to meet that can go help you. And part of the value of being in this every week is that every week you're going to meet with different people and they're going to ask you questions and push you, and then you come back the next week. And so that's the big part of it. So that's what this is about. So how many teams, again, let's do this exercise one more time. So 1 hand per team, raise your hands. Let's see how many we've got. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. Perfect, we have everybody, all right. So more hands. How many of you are CS? You can look around and see. There's a lot of CS. We had all kinds. We have engineering, management, business, fine arts. Oh, there were more extra business ones going up. Communications. So we have course numbers in all of those because it takes all kinds of people to do a startup, but there's others too. Anybody bio or med or anything? No, probably not. Grad students? 1? Awesome. Any other schools I missed? Math. Good. Math is useful. Lots of things. All right, whose parents are entrepreneurs? Just curious. Raise your hand. Anybody? 2, 3. Not too many. You all have a startup now. How many of you have customers? You're not sure. All right, who pay you? One. All right, y'all have goals. All right. Okay, so real quickly, this is like the challenge. This is your first, you're going to pitch every week, so 90 seconds. So that I've already heard who you are, but so everybody else who can hear who you are, let's just go through each company once. Quickly, tell everybody what you do. Great job. Good way to start it. Who's next? Awesome.
Hey everyone, I'm Bob and I'm working on Edith. Edith basically takes your company's data and summarizes it down to a feed so you can scroll through and learn about stuff happening within your company without going through a bunch of different apps.
Hi, I'm Sarvesh. I'm with PicTag with Tom and Sam over here. We let you organize, search, sort, and share your photos. We'll take the gallery, put it through a special AI program, and let you tag your own photos, share them with other people, and make taking your photo gallery and putting it in your control.
I'm curious, I'm working on Graphel. Graphel enables users to invest in physical objects by representing them digitally on the blockchain.
Yes, first.
Populous, we're a platform where you can buy and sell shares of professional athletes.
My name is Brian. We're part of Blue. We're here to help make kids get interested in reading again through digital incentives and prizes.
Awesome. Matthew, you want to say hi real quick? Or you can just introduce yourself.
Oh, me?
Yeah.
Oh, hi everybody. My name is Matthew. I am a PT student, and I am here to enjoy it and listening. And I'm also working on it.
No. All right, cool. Sorry, I didn't give you much seed for that intro. We'll work on it again. You're up next.
Maven Surgical, so we are trying to create a intelligent and reliable robotic partner for the surgeons.
And the name of the company again?
Maven Surgical.
Maven Surgical, right. All right.
Hey guys, my name is Anand. We're from Cove College Events, which is basically the Eventbrite for college events. And currently we're just at UT and we expand to all campuses. We just summarize all the events from all fraternities, sport orgs, social orgs, professional orgs in one platform so everybody can just see what's going on every day for the rest of the semester.
Hi all, my name is Haley and my company is Free Water. We are the world's first free beverage company. Our aluminum bottles and paper cartons of natural spring water are always free because they're covered in ads which pay for everything, including a 10-cent per beverage donation to charity.
Sweet.
Hey y'all, my name is Chinmay. My company is Sprout Food Solutions. Essentially, we're trying to get into POS systems for restaurants and help create a regression that tells them how many ingredients are going to be used for the following week or month.
Hi, I'm Mo Gazelle. We help cattle ranchers sustainably manage their land to protect harassment while accelerating nature-based farming.
All right, you missed anybody? Those were really good first pitches. Good job. Awesome. They're going to get a lot better. You're going to get a lot of practice. All right. I didn't have everybody's email address. I only had one from each of you. But did one person from each of your teams get an email from me today? That sound familiar? Okay. Please read the email. It has lots of useful things in it. But just, if you're here, you probably got most of it. Okay. We are still recruiting for our TAs. We're a little behind on this. There's 2 TAs for the class. Kamanchu was actually one of the TAs last semester. So if you know in particular what makes a TA really great for us is someone who's really plugged into campus. Because there's the parts of running the class are actually pretty straightforward, and really it's about representing us around campus and helping us recruit students to be part of the next upcoming class. So if you know anybody, it's a great way to get plugged in on campus and to plug into what's going on here. You get to meet all the VIPs and all the mentors. You get a Capital Factory membership. A lot of people that have done this TA job have gone on to get internships at Capital Factory or become associates at Capital Factory and other venture capital firms, and also or to go on, have gone on to take the class later too. So if you know anybody, we're interviewing now, and we'll find somebody this week. But definitely, if you know anybody great, send them my way. All right. Does everybody have Legos? we had exactly the right number of Legos. We're very fortunate. Okay, this is a duck. Please, without looking at anybody else's, make a duck. Make your own duck. Everybody has the same pieces. Shay, we need to get Stormy Legos. Everybody make a Stormy. Yeah. You don't have to. I guess not, no. No. No rules. All right, 15 seconds. All right, hold your duck up. Look at everybody else's ducks at your table. Does anybody at your table or the table next to you have the same duck? No? All right, quickly. Stand up and look around. Does anybody else compare ducks? Anybody have the same ducks? Move. See if you can find someone that has the same duck as you. Or the closest. But no changing your ducks. All three of you have the same duck? All right. If you find someone that has the same duck, stick together. All right. It has to be exactly the same. All right, we're running out of time, so if you gave up, go ahead and sit down. If you found somebody, stay together. Who has the same duck? Do you guys have the same duck? Do you guys have the same duck? How many? 3 of you have the same duck. Are you on the same team? 2 of you. All right, we have 3 people with the same duck. Anybody else? They're figuring it out. All right, we're out of time. Are you guys the same? Hey, tap them. Are you guys the same? Are you matched or not? You 2 have the same. 4 of you. Did you cheat? Did you look? He's like, I've been in first. All right, cool. So 4 of you and 3 of you. All right, go ahead and sit down. All right, you're kind of messing with my exercise, but that's okay. So I've done this exercise many times in bigger groups of people, and usually it's pretty rare to have anybody have the same duck. So you guys are some strange ducks. But that's fine. That's just, partly just fun and partly just coincidence. But so interestingly enough, we had 3 people with the same duck, and 3 or 4? Did you 4 of you have the same duck? Okay, that's very unusual. So you're gonna mess with my example a little bit, but I think you'll still get it. So all these people, everybody made different ducks. We didn't really give you any rules, right? If we had, like I said, in my experience, you can have like 100 people in the room. Usually you just get 1 or 2 duplicates. Did anybody make their duck with the Legos upside down? Like, are all of you the buttons up? All of them? Curious, like, did anybody even think about making it with the Legos upside down? You did?
I was thinking it was long ago.
Yeah. And so why didn't you?
It looked bad.
It looked bad. That's a good reason. Anyone else have any thoughts why you didn't make any upside down ducks? You felt some urgency, some time, it was easier to do it the other way. Anybody else? I mean, everybody knows Legos go right side up, right? Well, the point of this exercise, it's actually not about whether or not you make the same ducks. That's just kind of fun. But it's really to think about, like, what are the rules that you're operating under? What are the written rules? What are the unwritten rules? Like you asked, like, do I have to use all the ducks? And at first I was like, yes. Then I was like, wait, no, there's no rules. That's part of the point. I didn't tell you any rules. I just said make a duck. But, most people will just assume, like, you want all the Legos right side up, right? Because they look bad upside down. I don't know, for some other reason, right? But we never said they had to, right? And a huge part of being innovative and being in startups, right, is figuring out which rules actually matter, right? And which rules apply to you and which rules don't. And so anyway, I think this hopefully is like a good takeaway as you think about your companies and what you have to go do. All right, you can keep the ducks. Or if you don't, we'll reuse them. You can throw them in the bucket. So I'm gonna go over a few more things about the lab and like how things are gonna work. Then Shay is gonna give a introduction to Capital Factory and what it means to be a member here, because part of it is you all get a membership here at Capital Factory. And then we're gonna do one more little exercise together, and then we're gonna go walk around and I'll show you around and get a tour. So this is the lab, and as you heard in the video at the beginning, what you get out of this is, most importantly, time to work on your startup. It's like a 3-unit course, and you don't have to take some other course, and you get a whole bunch of time to work on it, and it counts for graduation. So that's the main thing. That's the biggest thing. Another thing is you're with all these other people that are all going through this too, and so you're like, there's a bunch of reasons that's good. Like, you learn from each other, and also it's motivating to be around other people, and you see other people having success, and you're like, shit, I want to do that. Or other people having challenges, and you might be having the same challenges, and you could talk to them about it. You get matched up with mentors, people that have seen this movie before. Like, it's like really helpful to talk to people that know what's going to happen and can tell you. We bring in really amazing, like, the CEOs of big companies in town, and some of the top VCs in town who normally wouldn't just take a meeting with anybody. It'd be hard for you to get a meeting with them, but they come into the class and they'll walk around and talk to you at your tables and meet with you. You get, one of the most significant things is you get, it's part of your Capital Factory membership, is you get access to all the Capital Factory mentors, or the ones for the co-working space. And so that's this whole pool of other people that you can go schedule meetings with, that you see a big calendar and you can go book meetings with on your own. You get $1,000. That's just a grant, thanks to actually a donor who endowed our class, so that every year we can do that, which is really great. You get a table at the startup crawl. So during South by Southwest, when this whole downstairs is all full of people, thousands of people, and there's all this stuff going on, you get to have a table there and talk about what you're doing and get exposure and pitch over and over and over again. You get a membership here at Capital Factory. You can come here whenever you want and work here and take meetings here, and like I said, really plug into the network here, which is the most important part. You get hosting credits if you need them at Amazon and Google and Microsoft and things like that. Those kind of change every year a little bit, but we usually can always get those. You get to present in front of a whole bunch of people at the end. It's kind of gone up and down with COVID. I don't think we've had a 1,000-person demo day since COVID, but we could. We certainly fill this place up with hundreds of people, and we've had ones with 1,000 people in the past too. And so it's just really awesome exposure and a chance to really get out and launch what you're doing in front of a lot of people. And at the end of that, somebody gets a real $25,000 investment prize too. So there's real money behind it as well. So class rules. It's only for students in the class. If you have someone who is not a student but is like working on the class full time, tell me first, and that's probably okay, and we'll allow them to come in. But you don't get to bring guests in. You don't invite your friends in. Don't invite someone visiting from out of town in. you can ask me to do that, but do that before the class. Don't bring them to the class. Because I'm already bringing in a whole bunch of guests every week that I'm coordinating and trying to schedule and do things with. And so it's not as simple as just somebody stopping by. And we want this place to be a really safe, kind of sacred place. So please don't bring other guests in. There'll be a check-in sheet. This is really an attendance-based course. Like, you get time to work on your startup, and there's not a lot of assignments or other things like that. It's mostly about being here and doing it. And one of the things that's going to happen almost every week is you're supposed to meet, you have 2 mentors that you meet that are your lead mentors that you get matched up with. And so it's towards the end of the class, it's a little bit free form. There's not like a very well-defined, like the class is over. And so, because some people stay talking for way after the class. But in particular, there's a kind of beginning to the class, and we kick things off, and everybody pitches, and then there's pizza, and then at least you want to meet with your 2 mentors, and there's probably going to be a bunch of guest mentors that you want to meet with too. And as part of this, you're going to hear a whole bunch of information from all these other companies and all these other students that are working on things that are really important to them. And again, part of this being a safe place is feeling like they can talk about it and talk to you, and you should just default assume that it's confidential, unless it's obviously something they want you to tell everybody about. They're like, I'm hiring for this position. Like, okay, like you can tell people about that, right? But just assume, like, if they are sharing like about how much money they're making or problems they're having, like, don't gossip about that. Don't share that with other people. Like, things that we say here should stay here. So let's stop and let you ask some quick questions of me about the class in particular. And I can prompt them if you don't have any, but do you guys have any? Yeah, everything's here on Tuesday, and then separate from that, we expect that you would have your own team meeting separately. And while the mentor meetings that happen here are what I'm making it really easy, and it's fun because everybody's here, and it's kind of one of the great things, you get matched up with 2 of the mentors, like 2 of the lead mentors. If there's some other lead mentor here that's meeting with some other team and they're not assigned to you, but you really want to meet with them, you're all in the room together, just go talk to them after they do their last meeting. That's part of the thing is you can kind of it's very flexible. So that's happening every week. But if you want to meet with your mentor outside of this too, we're just making it easy. It's up to them. But if you can ask them, hey, do you want to go get lunch on Thursday? Or whatever, and they can meet with you outside or some other time.
As far as the capital factory membership, can we also access it after hours, or is it just during business hours kind of thing? You
can come here all the time, 24/7. Just treat it like my home. Take good care of it. It is my home. If you break something, I have to pay for it. And we want to keep it, part of what keeps it awesome is people respecting it. So yeah, it's not a place to come party. It's not a place, this is a place to get shit done, to work with people and to meet people and things like that.
Here's the logistic question. So I don't have the access to the Slack channel.
Yeah, nobody has access to anything yet, so don't worry.
Okay, all right, cool.
We're just getting started. In fact, none of you will even see this class on your Canvas just yet. We should this week, but we have to manually add you because no one's allowed to sign up for the class. I have to approve all of you ourselves. And then as part of that, you should be able to request access to the Slack, and we'll approve it. And then that should happen over just over the next day or 2. And then similarly, you'll see this show up in your Canvas. I guess I'm forgetting. There's at least 1 or 2 other things you'll get connected to. And then as part of the orientation, you'll learn how you're going to get connected into the Capital Factory system. So you'll get an access card, maybe even today, and a membership. And there's an online place where you can see all the mentors and people that you can meet with.
So all the mentors are pre-assigned, right, before each class?
So what happens is there's a group of mentors that are really amazing because they commit to coming pretty much every week. They're I'm going to come, and they get matched up with, each mentor gets matched up with 2 teams, and each team gets matched up with 2 mentors. So sometimes you meet with them together, sometimes one-on-one, but the idea is each week you're checking in with them, and they're kind of helping to keep it consistent and give you consistent feedback and have a consistent perspective because they're meeting with you every week. And then also every week we're bringing in 5 or 6 other people that may or may not be relevant to you, but between all 5 of them, there probably are a few that are. And they kind of they aren't going to be able to meet with every single team because they're only here for an hour or 2, but they'll meet with 3 or 4 different companies each. So the idea is each week you meet with your 2 lead mentors and maybe 1 or 2 guest mentors. And also, just on that note, if there's somebody you really want to meet with, tell me, and I'll invite them to come in as a guest mentor. Like, again, I can get people to come in for this, that it's actually really hard for me to get in to come in for other things. Like, it's an easy ask of like, will you come talk to my class? Like, like people say yes to that, and they'll say yes in this context that they wouldn't in others. So let me go through some of my common questions. I know we already talked about how to get registered. A lot of this is going to be through the TAs that we don't have assigned yet, but we will this week. So that's how you kind of get the access to the things you need. That'll all happen hopefully by the next class. Access to Capital Factory, we're going to talk to you today with Shay. I rhymed. I think I already just kind of explained the difference between a lead mentor and a guest mentor. Lead mentors come in every week. Guest mentor just comes in once. We're going to match you up with the lead mentors. So next week is going to be mentor speed dating. And so we'll be same place in here, but what we'll do is there'll be like basically like the mentors will get up, introduce themselves, and then there'll be a quick round where you get just a few minutes with each mentor to talk to them, and you're kind of interviewing them to see, do you want to work with them? And they're interviewing you at the same time. And at the end of it, you give us like a list, like here's my top 5 in order. And they give us a list too of like the companies they're most interested in, and we kind of all match it up and assign them to you. And how do you get the most out of them? Ask them for a lot of stuff. Here's my favorite piece of advice for dealing with mentors, and I mean this. It's a very literal. It's not an expression. It's not a joke. It's very real. If you don't hear them say no, if you don't say like, can you do blah, 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 and they don't go, oh no, I'm so sorry, I can't do that, then you're not asking for enough stuff. Like, challenge yourself. Get them to say no. Like, what could I ask for that they're not going to do? And you're going to be amazed because they're going to say yes to things you were sure they were going to say no to. So I would just encourage you to ask nicely, but like ask for a lot of stuff. Like, hey, would you mind sitting in on this call with me? Like when I call this with this really important call I'm doing, or would you talk to this person I'm thinking about hiring? Like kind of interview them for me, tell me what you think about them, or like, hey, you're a big company. I know you have a graphic designer. Do you think they would like make this page for me? Like, like I don't know. Like I think you'd be amazed like what you get away with. Like so, I would ask for a lot of stuff. Okay. Any other questions? There'll be more time for questions. I don't want to keep Shay too long. And so I'm trying to get to her in just a minute here. There's not many assignments in this class. You're supposed to work on your startup, and then you pitch, a lot of pitching. But a few things you have to do. Today, we're going to make a pitch profile. This is good for you. And this is basically like, it's like a LinkedIn page for your startup. That is what we share with the mentors when they come in. It's what Capital Factory shares with investors. And it kind of asks you all the right questions about your company to help you describe what it does. So we'll make a first stab at that today. And then the other thing it'll be due next week is you're going to make a lean canvas. And this is kind of like a one-page business plan. And so it kind of just asks you 10 or 12 different questions, and you kind of fill in the blanks with the answers. And that's kind of the map of helping trying to understand your business. So I mentioned pitch.vc. We'll do that today. Lean Canvas, we'll be doing next week. leancanvas.com, it's free. And the last thing, which was in the email that you got, is for next week, you all need to, not in legalese, like not like in a legal agreement, but you need to talk about and decide who owns what in your company, if that's not something that's already really clear, because that's always a really good thing to talk about early. And everything we ask for, you're going to send to updates at Longhorn Startup. I don't think that date was right, but I'll update that. The other assignment, the other main piece of participation is that every student who's enrolled in the class submits their own email at the end of the week that's about themselves, not about the company. It's like, here's what I did this week. Here's what my goals are for next week. And they're sharing that with the rest of their team and with their mentors and with the TAs and I. And we're very specific about the format of it because it actually makes otherwise it makes it much harder for us to grade and to work with. And so you have to use a very specific subject line. And then what you do is you send the email, like the first email, and then every week you just reply to your email from last week. So that literally at the end of the semester, we have one email thread with all your updates from the whole semester. And that's actually what we go grade. So please try to help us do that. It makes it a lot easier. But we'll talk about that more next week. And that grade is both on like your communication, like how are you communicating it? And also like, did you actually do anything this week? So a little bit of both of those. And those get graded actually by us and by your, at the end of the semester, by your teammates, if you have other people on your team. Some key dates, there's 2 graded pitches. One in the middle of the semester, one towards the end of the semester. The semester is really early this year. When we grade a pitch, if you have multiple people on your team, we will, at the beginning of class, randomly pick one of you to pitch. So everybody needs to be ready to pitch, and everybody shares that grade. If you only have one of you, it's a little easier. But that's the way the graded pitches go. And then on demo day, when you're like up in front of everybody, you get to pick, and it's not graded. That's really just about getting you up on stage and getting you a lot of exposure. But we'll talk about that more too. Other things you get access to for free that actually normally cost money is one of my partner Gordon's boot camp, Founders Academy. It's awesome, really, really great. Really highly encourage you to try to make time for this. It also has a whole video series that goes along with it that you can get access to for free as well. You can just go watch all the videos. Gordon's brilliant, and he wrote one of the books, not this one, that were for our class. This one, which also we highly recommend that you read for this. It's really good. The other book, which I also really recommend, is Ash Myra, who's a guy from Austin, happens to just coincidentally, there's a book called Running Lean, and it's really about really how to think about testing your startup ideas and kind of testing or validating things as you move forward. So if you aren't familiar with it, I'd really encourage you to check it out. And I think you're going to find it it's like, it tells you how to take each next step. It's really instructive. It's really great. I'm going to send this out because I want to get Shay up here. These are just some of our communication stuff. Here's what we're going through today, which I already told you. Next week, it's going to be pretty much all mentor speed dating. It'll be really fun. And then most classes, the first hour, each of you gets up and gives your pitch and one person gives an update for the company, which all the mentors get to see. And then we go into mentor office hours. We still need a TA. So again, please do think about that. I'll make it better. And I'm going to give you more time to ask me questions after I let Shay tell you a little bit more about Capital Factory. So Shay, I don't want to mess up your title, Shay. I feel like you just got promoted. So what is your title? She's our community coordinator, sorry. So she's taken on some new responsibilities lately as well too, but she's our community coordinator. And in particular, she can help tell you a little bit more about what it means to be a member at Capital Factory. Do you want to take over presenting? I'm kind of doing this off my phone. Okay, well, it's on my phone.
Oh,
yeah. While she's doing that, I'll jump to my last slide about Capital Factory, which, separate from like the normal rules of Capital Factory for everybody here, there are some extra rules for you guys, which is don't do anything stupid that makes it so that students can't come back to Capital Factory again. That's the starting point. Starting with, as a general rule, I would say, don't drink here. Like, I don't care if you're 21. Don't create a situation where it's going to be a problem for other people. There is beer here. It's not for you guys. Okay? That's my simple explanation to it. It's just like, that's been our rule. It's kept it easy. There's never been a big problem. And just like I said before, like, this is not a place to come party. Like, this is a place to come get shit done. And so if you think of it that way and you respect it, it'll be great. You're welcome to come work here all night long. But it's not a place. But we don't want to find you passed out on one of the beanbag chairs, like smelling bad, or throwing up somewhere. So, you got him? Awesome. Thanks, Shay. Here.
Is there a clicker over here? Yeah, if you don't mind. All right. Hi, guys. How are y'all? So like Josh said, I'm Shay, and I'm the community coordinator here at Capital Factory. So what that means is I manage all of the members and all of the day-to-day when it comes to Capital Factory. I've been in this role since March of 2021, so coming up on 2 years now. And in that time, I filled in on front desk. I've worked with memberships team on sales. I help our workplace team with day-to-day operations. I do a little bit of everything, so I have a lot of knowledge about all things CF. That being said, I am y'all's go-to for all things Capital Factory. So if you have any questions at all, need any help, I can help you guys figure out what you get access to, how to access it, any links you might need. You guys all should have sorry, I only have the contacts for the main people in the company. So the people who are the main leads right now, y'all should have all gotten invites to our member portal, Slack, and Union. So you can message me on Slack if you have any questions. You can send an email to community@capitalfactory.com, or you can come visit me at my desk on the 16th floor. I'm going to go over the apps that I just talked about that are all of our resources online. So our Union platform, that's what we use for all of our office hours. Like Josh mentioned, if you want to meet with a mentor, we have a large network that you can browse on union.vc and meet with them either in person here at CF or online, whatever works for you. And then there's also membership perks on there. So that's going to be unions. And then Slack specifically is used for our internal networking. So I like to think of it as kind of an internal social media. It's where you can go message other founders in the community. You can message staff. Like I said, I'm on there very actively through my phone throughout the day. You can post questions to the channels if you're trying to gain some information. If you have any feedback, we have a request for feedback channel. So lots of useful things in there for you to use. The last thing is going to be the member portal, and that's where you can book out meeting rooms. So as a member of Capital Factory, you each get 5 free hours a month in conference room bookings. So 1 credit equals 1 hour, which means you can come in and work for 5 hours for free in any of our conference rooms, and you do that through that member portal.
That's only if you want like a closed room because you're booking a meeting.
Yeah.
You can work as much as you want. Like, in a
Co-working space, yeah, definitely. Thank you. So a little bit more about the mentor network and the mentor team. We have an email alias, officehours@capitalfactory.com, that's super useful if you're struggling to figure out a mentor that you want to meet with, if you're having trouble getting in contact with someone that you're really interested in talking to. So you can email that alias, and Rachel and Christine are our mentor team that can help you out. Rachel's based here in Austin, and Christine is in San Antonio, but they both do virtual office hours through Union as well. So if you're interested in getting some personalized recommendations, where to start looking, they can help you out with that. They've created a list of tips that I love to share because I think it's super useful, especially for y'all starting out here at CF. The first thing is obviously to be prepared, but that doesn't mean just knowing what you're going to say. It means knowing who you're meeting with. What do you want to ask them? What do you want to learn from them? Have a clear ask for them. That also does mean having your pitch deck ready and having those questions lined up. And it also means to be concise. You only have 30 minutes to talk one-on-one with them, so you want to spend a small amount of time asking them the questions and a large amount of time getting those answers from the mentor. The last thing is to be persistent with it. If these mentors are busy people and you're having trouble booking, keep booking with them, keep booking with other mentors, ask them who you think they should meet with, and they can give you some really good recommendations since they know their network just like we do. All right, physical space. So this is about all things in person. So we just went over the virtual stuff. Here's the physical stuff. Our code of conduct, golden rule, treat people how you want to be treated. If you are being a genuinely nice person, you are cleaning up after yourself, you're not abusing any conference rooms, you're probably doing just fine. Like Josh said, no underage drinking, no drinking at all preferably. The space is also tobacco free, that should go with that being said, including e-cigarettes. And what I mean by not abusing phone rooms and conference rooms is phone rooms are not meant to be booked out. They're meant to be hop in, take a call, hop out. Not a private office for you to use all day. In contrast, conference rooms are meant to be booked so that you can reserve it ahead of time, not have to worry. You know you can go onto your call, you're going to have a private space. So please book them out and don't use them without booking it. If you do happen to be in a room and someone comes and they say, I have a meeting, show them the common courtesy that you would prefer and pack up your stuff with some haste and hop out of that room so they can get to their meeting. We have 4 floors here at Capital Factory, so any of these have co-working on them that you're able to use 24/7, like Josh said. We are in our Voltron room currently, which functions also as our main event space. So if any of you guys have attended an event here, you've probably been in this room before. But during business hours, 9 to 4, Monday through Friday, it functions as a co-working space for our members. So your access card will get you access to this door during those times. The 5th floor is where we have most of our offices and dedicated desks, but there is also co-working in the main space. And there's 4 conference rooms and a classroom. It's also where we have our game room. I love to point it out. It has Wii, Nintendo 64, Sega, lots of fun stuff if you ever need to take a nice break. Going up to the 8th floor, we also have 4 conference rooms up there, but we also have phone rooms. So you'll notice there's none on the 5th floor. Don't worry, they're up on 8 and 16. Another cool thing about the 8th floor is we offer our podcast and green screen room, which will be open for booking toward the end of this month. So if you're interested in using it, that's a really cool resource that you get completely free. Lastly, we have my personal favorite floor, which is 16. It's one of the only floors with floor-to-ceiling windows, so you get the nice downtown views all day. It also has the most amount of conference rooms and phone booths, so if you're looking for any of those resources, 16 is going to be a solid option for you. So Brevo, for those of you that got your access cards today, you should have also gotten an email from Brevo for a mobile pass. This just allows you to access our space using just your phone rather than having the physical card. The difference between the two is that the card will work on the elevators and the mobile pass will not. So if you're trying to get into any of the floors, you'll need this card to get up there initially, but once you're up there, you can get around using your phone pretty easily. Next one.
So also, during the day, we have, at the gift shop right next door, there's, we call it mission control, there's desk coordinator staff there. And so if you ever come here and you don't have your card, or you're kind of like not sure where to go, they're here during the day, and that's what they're there for, is either to buzz you up to the right floor, or help you figure out where to go, or anything like that.
And it's like covers elevator hours too.
My bad, sorry.
No, you're good. I appreciate it. So we do have, like we said, the elevators are locked during the day. But like Josh said, if you come in and you realize, oh shoot, I don't have my card on me, but I have my mobile pass, just head over to Mission Control. Caroline and Becca sit there and they can help you out, help you figure out where things are, how to get up, anything like that. After hours, if you run into the same issue and we don't have any staff on site, no worries, don't fret. Just head over to security. You'll show them your access card and then your ID that matches the name on there. If you don't have both of those items, they won't let you up. That's because they're protecting our spaces and we've asked them to do so. Another bit is that after hours, so overnight from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m., there's no guests allowed, again, for safety. So at that time, you'll have to go check in at security with that card and your ID, and they'll let you up. I know a lot of y'all probably have some late nights going on, so it's a really cool option to come in and work. Just keep in mind there is no sleeping in the space. This is a place to hustle and get stuff done, so keep that in mind, please. Our internal doors, so I've kind of alluded to elevators versus our doors. Up on the 5th floor, we have 3 doors that block off our conference rooms. So when you exit the co-working space and try to enter those, you'll have to scan in through the R2-D2, C-3PO, or BB-8. If you're a fan of Star Wars, you'll recognize the OG droids are on the left side of the wing, and the new droid is on the right side, so it kind of helps you figure out which way to go. Up on 16, we only have 3 doors as well, and they're when you first walk in, you'll either have to go right or have to go left. Bats and Birdie are right there. And there's a secret little entrance around ACL. You'll still have to scan in, but it's easy to get from ACL to the dedicated desk and co-working area.
All the doors have a clue.
Yeah.
Like Birdie has a bird on it, Bat has a bat.
16th floor is labeled, they say the name. 5th floor only has the logo. So you gotta know your droids. Yes, I hope all y'all know your droids. For anyone that needs it, our Wi-Fi is center of gravity, all lowercase, all one word. Please do not share it with anyone outside this room. And also note you're not allowed to bring in your own routers or create your own networks, so don't do that. Like I mentioned, guests are more than welcome during business and secured hours, just not overnight. So feel free to bring in people if they like to see the space, but keep in mind this is a place of work. So please be responsible for them, and if any actions they take need to be reprimanded, it will be on you. Also, nothing on 4 wheels should ever go on the business elevators, ever. This is from building, we have to enforce this. If you have a bike or a cart or an animal, it has to be a service animal, and it has to go up the freight elevator, but luckily we have bike racks, bike cages, we have service animal forms you can fill out, all the things. So we'll work with you, just come to me and I'll help you out. Like I mentioned, we have the bike racks on 5 and 16. There's also a bike cage on the 1st floor that attaches literally to your card. So you pull up, swipe your card, put it away, and you don't have to worry about it again. I know parking downtown can be a bit expensive, so it's a good option. Events. So here's a couple of things coming up in our community that I think are really awesome, and I always recommend to all people who are just now joining CF. So I'm sure Josh has probably already mentioned it or will mention our Cup of Capital event. We have networking every Friday in a different city. So next week we'll be in Houston, and then the following week we'll be in Austin. But it's every single week in a different city. So if you're ever in one of them and interested in going to network, this is a really cool opportunity. My event that I always shamelessly plug myself is Member Salon. So next Thursday we have our first Member Salon back of the year since October. It's an event for us to network with people in the community, but also people outside of the community. It's open to the public. It is a pitch event with an open bar, and we get to hang out, network, hear from members of the community, and then get to hang out afterward. And I think that is my slide. I have a member guide that is linked in Slack that I will also send out to y'all in a welcome email. It's super, super useful. It's basically a giant frequently asked questions page for all things Capital Factory. So if there's something I didn't talk about today that you are curious about, it's probably in that guide. It's pinned to the top of the water cooler channel on Slack if you're looking for it. That's it. Any questions for me about your membership?
Capital Factory questions?
Yeah, CF specific questions while I'm here. Yes. Did you get the email or were you waiting for it? You got one. Cool. So for those that didn't get the email, we're just waiting on the TA to send them.
We only have the emails for one contact, and so part of this week is we'll be getting the rest of the emails to everybody, and then you'll receive an invite.
Correct. Yes. So like I mentioned, parking is rough. It is downtown Austin, and unfortunately we can't avoid that. So we recommend using parking apps such as Spot Hero, Park ATX, things like that. We also have on our website, capitalfactory.com/parking. There's a ton of recommendations on bus routes, bike rack situations, all the different apps that are possible to use. Unfortunately, we cannot validate parking because it is expensive here.
Yeah, and so on top of that, assuming TOTUC is not offering setting up its own class rides for the class, in the evenings we have a special deal with the parking garage here for the meetups and events that happen. I think is after
6 to 10, I think.
Where it's $5 for the night, which is really reasonable for downtown. In the past, this class was in the evening, and so when we changed the time of the class, I didn't foresee this issue about the parking. And so I'm trying to work something out with them to we're hopefully going to get the same deal for the class so that it's not park here, it's $5 if I can knock that out.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Are there any other TOTUC plans?
No, we should be doing live stream soon.
Okay, cool. Maybe
This seems like a great
opportunity. Right?
Anyone else? Last chance. Yeah.
Yes, so in our case, we're 4 people in the company, and 2 of us are enrolled in the course. How does that work with the Capital Factory membership?
So the way it works is the 2 of you that are enrolled will get memberships, and the others basically are guests. So in practice, it's probably not a big issue at all. It's like assuming you're going to be off and here together, and then they just come with you guys. For some reason it becomes a much bigger issue. We can talk about it, but it's usually not a big problem.
It works basically hand on products.
But if there's no other problem, worst case you can buy a membership. But it is part of that's part of being in the class. But we can talk about it. It has not been a big problem. Of course it's nice
not.
to get more of them, but it's kind of like that's part of the deal. It's like it's for the students.
Yeah. Anyone else? Perfect. Oh, cool.
My schedule, is it possible for me to register, timing-wise? Is it possible for me to actually be registered, enrolled in this class, because I want to have it on my app, and it's like I can't.
Let's talk about that after that's up.
Sorry, I do not go to UT. I graduated Texas State 2 years ago. Cool. All right. Well, I'm sure y'all have some more questions once you leave here. So if you do, feel free to email community@capitalfactory.com, and I'm more than happy to answer them there.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Shay.
Yeah, of course.
All right, so next up, if you guys are up for it, can we do a class selfie on the stage? I don't even know if we can do a selfie. It might be the last thing we need from Shay is a picture, but yeah. But can everybody try to fit on the stage?
Yeah, I got a few if you're taking one, but I'll take an actual one. There are quite a few. Nice.
Awesome. All right. So, thank you. Thank you, Shay. So next up, we're going to go back to your tables. Thank you so much. And what I'd like to do before we take a tour of Capital Factory is take about, we'll see, but I think probably about 15, 20 minutes and have each of you make a pitch profile if you don't already have one. So, and I'll kind of walk around and look at them with you too. But this is a really key part of you being successful here at Capital Factory. And it's going to be, like I said, it's going to be what, as the mentors come in next week, we're going to want them, we're going to send them a link to this and be like, here are the different companies that you might be meeting with in advance. And it's never going to be perfect. You're going to like write it, and then next week you're going to probably want to change something or add something to it. But this is, going to be really useful for us to go do that. So, if everybody could open a computer, it's like one per team, and go to pitch.vc, and you log in with you can usually log in with like a Google account, your UT account or something, and create if you don't have one, I don't think, does FreeWater already have one, or no? Does FreeWater already have a profile? You don't think so? You can search for it to see. But yeah, if you don't already have one, make one. And some of the stuff is obvious, like putting your logo in or your tagline, your name. And if you go look at the startups page, it shows you the ones that have been most recently edited. And so like Eve Vehicles was one that I put up as an example that actually I think is a really good profile. It's very filled out, and so it's like a good example to look at if you want to see what a really good one looks like. And you don't have to have it like be perfect today, but like you should be able to get all the basic stuff in today so that at least we can show it to the mentors next week and give them an idea of who you're meeting with. So let's take a few minutes to do that now.
Like we got it all that first up, and then yeah, like he didn't go to college. He went right to the
Doing what?
Try logging out.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. I think I got like one of the last power. Yeah. It's just something
Hey, what's your Hey, you need your veggies. Yeah, you need your veggies. I like veggie pizza too, but I didn't like what was vegetarian. But I'm apparently.
Like all this. We might actually have different browsers, but still the same thing. I also like trying to click here to go back to the page. Oh, wait, we're back. Alright, for a second. Make the Wi-Fi. The switch points. You finished it? Or? No,
based on like if you use otherwise like go to IC and then like yeah, do nothing for like or do that there's a bunch of that's it's not like I'm pretty sure they're like they hired a bunch of as annoying as it is. No, that's what I'm everyone likes what I want to like call them like
I don't think so. I think you would basically everyone who said that they're trying to share stuff with my business. And their interviews it's the same. I think everyone still in order. Still in order. Oh, nice. So like mathematical or like MATLAB, right? So you know what? That's nice. That's exciting. I feel like it's so like so I can't speak for you. There's no time for
Bro, you know that? I should have. All students on just for now. It's 9:40. I mean, just got it. How are you guys doing the program? Because that's like, no, we do that. So you tried to send it user. I mean, oh, we're not there. Hey, we're having the same issue. You know what? Is it the same?
It's also like very male dominated. Also very racially dominated. Couple of founders. And then like well, not all
Yeah, mine is just So you invest in Apple to help them. So it's like fantasy. Yeah, you gotta see what better. So it's like fantasy plus stocks. But fantasy plus stocks is designed to run for business. Not really.
Michael.
All right. Sorry, I know some of you. Has anybody feel like they've successfully completed their profile? Yes. Okay. Some people have had trouble with some login issues, so I'm sorry about that. And well, I'm sure it's something not hard to fix. So I'm sure we'll figure it out over the next day or two and get that fixed for you guys, so you can get logged in properly. But again, this will be a really important thing we want for next week for sharing with the guests, with the mentors. And we're going to use it over and over again. So you're going to want to come back to it and keep updating it and keep making it better. Some of the things, if you look at, as an example, e-vehicles, the things I like about that profile is they've filled in, like, all the people's profiles are in there. They've got lots of team members on there. They've got some charts and some other things in there that really show what's going on. Endorsements are a really powerful thing that you won't have right away, but if you can get other people and other investors or other people to comment on your profile, that really helps as well. So all those are things that'll really help beef it up. So last thing for today is to do a Capital Factory tour and go just kind of show you around the space. So if you guys are up for that, we could leave stuff here and leave the food here and just come back down to it. It'll probably take maybe 15, 20 minutes to walk through. And then at the end, we'll be wrapped up. So if someone's up for that now, we'll move.